You know what they say, that people lie, but numbers do not. It doesn't matter how you feel about things, because numbers will not care. Numbers reveal facts on how successful things are. They'll reach either a high number, depending on what the rules are. A high number could be really good, like in basketball, or it could be really bad, like in golf. And then you have lower numbers, which could be bad in terms of viewership. You see networks continue to shoot for the sky. They're no different than the mindset of Vince McMahon. Even though he is in the entertainment industry, he still understands what he's doing is a business. He knows that his company needs to make money to continue to move. I mean, I remember hearing the dark days of like in 1993 and 1994 where the WWE was bleeding cash. And yet, Vince McMahon prevailed. Yes, at the right time, he had the right talent, and still he made the decision of going with it and going with the WWE Attitude Era. And he beat his competitor, the only one to beat him, Eric Bischoff, in WCW. In 2001, he bought WCW. He bought his competition out. And before that, he purchased another small organization, ECW, that indeed had influence in the professional wrestling business. Now, pro wrestling has gone a long, long way. And it's Vince McMahon being smart and knowing how to get his product to the audience. I mean, I think about how I became a professional wrestling fan. You might have heard the very first Wrestling Between Society, me admitting that I'm a mark. I mean, come on. Whether you're a fan or a wrestler, you are a mark because you have a certain emotional attachment to professional wrestling. It's okay to be admitted as a mark. Some say that's a kind of a negative thing, but I don't think it is. It is what it is. If you're a wrestling mark, you're a wrestling mark. I'm a wrestling mark. I'll go admit it. Yes, I am a wrestling mark because, yes, I do have an emotional attachment to it. And that has come from how Vince McMahon got his product to me. He got his product to me while I was living in South Korea. My father was in the military. On the Military Network channel, they had WWF programming. That's how I got exposed to Hulk Hogan, and that's how I got hooked. Now you think about how Vince McMahon gets his product and builds loyalty to people. It's unbelievable. I mean, you go see a live event and you see the wrestlers interact with the fans. And that's so important. It's something a business person can learn from on how to build loyalty towards its client base. You have to find a way to get an emotional attachment and at the same time be able to deliver on the promise. You know, a while ago I posted over on one of my sites talking about how WWE builds loyalty, and it shows a picture of Kofi Kingston interacting with the fans, and I think it was like a young kid. You know what that's going to do for the young kid? That young kid's going to remember that for a long time, and he's already hooked to WWE. Now that kid possibly could later be influenced to become a professional wrestler, or maybe just be a long-time fan. You know, he may get away from the product for a little bit because life happens, and then he may come across television, and all of a sudden there's another WWE program. He's like, oh, I remember watching this, and he may give them time. That's a great example of how loyalty is built.
Listen to me, Dad. We gotta cooperate. We have no choice. We're almost broke.
Oh, that's great. I can taste the bubbles. Ugh.
Over at A Top Guys Professional Wrestling. I'm over at WordPress.com, atopguys.wordpress.com. Facebook, it is A Top Guys Professional Wrestling page. Twitter is at a top guys, and I do have a YouTube channel over at a top guys. And over at Rumble, I'm over at a top guys. Again, just remember, a top guys. Do WrestleMania, yeah. It's WrestleMania, yeah. Now I know that's not the lyrics to the original song, but I do remember the jingle and, WrestleMania. Yes, this is WrestleMania season. Wow. Just think where WrestleMania started. And when Vince came up with that vision, a lot of promoters were laughing at him. They said, oh, that'll never work. And look, who's laughing now? You can say whatever you want about Vince McMahon, whether it's good, true, lies, truth, or you should be honest with yourself and say you really don't know. Unless you're in his inner circle, come on, you have no idea of who Vince McMahon is. I guess the only thing we could really do is measure what he's accomplished. And what he's accomplished has taken professional wrestling from being on a UHF channel to being a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, have you seen the numbers in attendances for WWE pay-per-views such as like Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, or even WWE Crown Jewel or whatever show they do overseas in Saudi? I mean, they have such a successful run at Clash at the Castle that they're taking money in the bank and they are going to put it into the O2 Arena. Now, remember back in SummerSlam 92 where they went to the United Kingdom and they played at Wembley Stadium? Now, I'm not sure if the O2 Arena is the same thing as Wembley Stadium because, quite frankly, I don't really care about what goes over in England. It doesn't really matter. Maybe is there a professional wrestling or some fight going on? Okay, then you got my attention. But other than that, you're not going to really get my attention a whole lot. Yet, going back to the point of how big and great WWE has become. I remember a few years ago I read an article where Randy Orton was talking about on how WrestleMania kind of rivals the Super Bowl in ways. And a lot of people are kind of laughing at him. But he made an interesting point in terms of tax revenue that WrestleMania brings to the cities that they go in. And they had studies and it was very comparable. And that was Randy Orton's point. Obviously, WrestleMania may not be getting the number of viewers that the Super Bowl has. I mean, how many programs has? Super Bowl viewers has like 100 million viewers watching it. You're just not going to compete it. I don't care who you are. Yet, when it comes to professional wrestling, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. Period. And Wrestling Between Society is over at Spotify.